When I spoke to Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz on Friday during that topping out ceremony, he said the county plans to get out of all stadium and arena business. One of the reasons the county executive said it was good that they no longer own the Bill Stadium is the liability involved for the county. He said the county will save millions of dollars in potential liability issues and also annual maintenance and infrastructure requirements. Poloncarz now says the county will be walking away from its lease with KeyBank Center when it expires in October. The city of Buffalo, through the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency, owns KeyBank Center, but the county had a 30-year lease to manage the facility and maintain it.
Once the current lease expires, we would be out of it, and it is our intention to walk away. We're going to have conversations with the Sabres, just like we did with the Bills, but we'll look at what's necessary for investing in that facility so that we can keep our team here and also make the KeyBank Arena the best it can be. But I don't really want to continue ownership if I can ensure it because of all the other issues that do arise.
Now, once the lease expires, control of KeyBank will revert back to the city of Buffalo. Now, there's no official word right now how much it will cost to update KeyBank Center, but I'm told by sources the price range could be between tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, depending on what work is done. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
Question: what if I am planning to retire soon?
It's a very difficult time for them.
But the chart shows the volatility and uncertainty, so it's important to know what you have in your account.
The good news is in a retirement account, you can make allocation changes, but you're not going to be hit with any taxes because you're in a tax-deferred account.
It's a fluid situation. If you're early to the game, you may be asking, what should I do about my 401k if I'm in my 20s or 30s?
If you're in a relatively low tax bracket, maybe consider putting money into a Roth 401k rather than a traditional. You will not get a current tax deduction for it.
He says the more shares you accumulate over your working lifetime, the better off you'll be. What about your 401k if you're in your 40s or 50s?
And if you were 100% in stocks, maybe you want to throttle that back to 70%, 65, 60, something of that nature. And your risk profile is going down a little bit more. Continue to reinvest dividends in the account. Continue to make contributions as you can.
His advice? Put at least 10% of your pay into a plan. And if you're in your 60s, O'Gorick says you're likely going to be ready to take money out.
If you're taking a draw from the account, a monthly draw to live on, you probably should have at least 1 year's worth of expenses in cash so that you don't have to hit depreciated shares in the event the market goes down.
And he says, see if it makes sense to stay in your 401k, or are the options better in an IRA? If the market goes down and your account does the same, a Roth conversion is possible.
You may have the opportunity to move some assets from your 401k to a Roth IRA. In the event you do that, you are going to pay current income taxes on the distribution you take. However, anything in that Roth IRA is not taxed as it continues to grow, and any funds you take out down the road also are not going to be taxed.
What's the most important thing to do about a 401k right now? O'Gorick says, know what you own. Remember, it's your money.
4 current students and 9 recent graduates at the University at Buffalo woke up to the news that their legal status in the U.S. was gone, terminated in the federal system. Immigration attorney Michael Berger and his team represents 2 of them.
They were ordered to leave the country. That was immediate. There's no grace period, no time given them to leave.
Berger says both of his clients were arrested for DWI, but neither was convicted of that charge.
They're very concerned because their graduation was literally a month away.
The attorney tells me one student from Pakistan was DWAI, which is a traffic infraction. The other from South Korea was also arrested for DWI, but the only conviction on record is for a parking violation. The university confirmed the termination, saying the actions appear to align what it called a zero-tolerance policy shift from the U.S. State Department. UB says it's working to support the students, but advised them to hire private immigration attorneys and prepare to leave the country.
Apparently, this is happening, from what I understand, all over the country. Students all over the country who have been in any, involvement with the law, whether they're convicted of a crime or not, are having their student status revoked.
The attorney representing two of the students says there's little time and not many answers.
Imagine this, they're going to have to go home, and nobody's going to be sympathetic to them, but they're going to have to go home and tell their parents, you've spent, $50,000, $100,000 on my education, and I wasn't being able to graduate. They're in very scary situations.
This is still a situation we're working to learn more details about, but what I can tell you is that a source tells On Your Side that a number of staff members here at Sweet Home High School have been placed on administrative leave following an incident that left a student in handcuffs. Now, what we know so far is that this happened late last week, happened on Friday, April 4th. There was some sort of altercation that caused a fight that escalated to the point where our source says a student was placed in handcuffs and taken to the principal's office, and that following this incident, several employees were placed on administrative leave. Now, we attempted to get further clarification on this situation last night from the district superintendent at an event at the public library here in Amherst, and here's some of that exchange. Now, Superintendent, I did want to ask you, we heard about an incident that took place at Sweet Home High School last Friday. Can you speak at all about that?
We issued a statement to you guys, so I'll just stick with that statement.
We heard that a student was placed in handcuffs and that a number of staff members are on leave right now. Can you confirm that?
I'll go back to the statement that we issued you guys.
Is there anything more you could share on it?
Go back to the statement.
Okay. Now, as for that statement, you heard the superintendent mention there a school district spokesperson would not confirm any specific details of what happened, but the district said that there was an incident that occurred and that a student and several staff members were involved. They also went on to say that they take matters like this very seriously and that they would be making no further comment at this time. Now, we also reached out to the Amherst Police Department, who said they are investigating an incident here at the high school, but they said they would not be releasing a police report. On Your Side here at Sweet Home High School, Andy Payton, Channel 2 News.
These cruises will be going from 180 passenger, they could go up to 280 passenger.
And the plan has them docking at Slip 2 on the outer harbor near where the old Pier restaurant was before it was torn down in the fall of 2007. This request for proposals from the state is asking for pitches from design consultants to take the next step and come up with plans for the terminal's design, site analysis, and environmental and infrastructure analysis. You'll likely start seeing changes here next spring, and as early as 2027, you could see cruise ships.
We hear that being at Canal Side, people that haven't been to Buffalo in a long time, love to see what's being developed at Canal Side, love to see what's happening on the waterfront. That's the spring, summer, early fall places to be in the city. And I think bringing visitors to this location in a different capacity allows them to experience what we've known for a long time. We are a great waterfront city.
This is exciting. We're getting closer and closer to the possibility of welcoming Great Lakes cruise ships to Buffalo.
Patrick Kaler with Visit Buffalo Niagara says this could attract a variety of new tourists to Western New York.
It means bringing a whole new visitor profile to our destination, maybe a little bit more affluent visitor, plus a visitor who likes to do repeat visitation after they've already been on the ships. They usually go back to those destinations that they visited. So we're very excited about that, plus the possibility of they're telling their friends and family about their experiences in Buffalo.
I had a student who decided to borrow some classroom toys. I decided to roll with it and had all the children borrow toys.
What started out as an idea in former preschool teacher Hannah Bogdan's classroom has evolved into a community space full of toys on Main Street in Buffalo.
It's really about community here and encouraging high quality play opportunities for families, building the community, and encouraging sustainability in our play practices.
It's called the Buffalo Toy Library.
To provide this free open play space and this opportunity to bring the toys back and create play opportunities at home feels like a dream come true.
This free spot to play is filled with all different types of toys designed to spark creativity and learning. If children have a membership, they can even borrow some of the toys.
Play is how children communicate, it's how they explore, it's how they grow, and it's the most important part of their development that we need to foster.
But the impact of this toy library goes far beyond children's play.
It helps parents not have so much pressure to purchase things for their children while still being able to meet them where they're at developmentally by providing them with high quality play materials.
Materials that have all been donated by families throughout Western New York.
It's really been amazing to see how this circular economy is working in Buffalo. Buffalo families providing toys to other Buffalo families so that they can have really high quality play experiences in the home.
Brogdon says all the toys are cleaned and they do follow and meet all of the U.S. Toy Library Association's cleaning standards. Again, you can play in the space for free. To borrow the toys, there is a membership for that. We'll have more information, including their hours, where you can sign up, and if you'd like to donate to the Toy Library, on our website, WGRZ.com. On your side, Courtney Courtright, Channel 2 News.
In just a few weeks,
it'll be my first time ever playing on home soil for a world championship.
These jerseys won't be sitting on a table.
In 2015, we had a lot of people come watch the games, and the atmosphere was really good, and obviously the Harbor Center, the setup is top-notch.
They'll be on Paralympic athletes like Jack Wallace and Kevin McKee when they hit the ice for the World Para Ice Hockey Championships.
There's a great jumping-off point for us to play in Buffalo a year before, less than a year before Milan, so getting ready for that. It's a great test to see where we're at and what we need to build on.
The two gold medalists say there's nothing like a home advantage when you're on the world stage.
We're obviously pretty close to the Canadian border, so we don't want to see a big sea of red when we're playing in Buffalo.
And it's the first time since 2015 that Buffalo is hosting the world's best sled hockey athletes.
That atmosphere changes everything. It just makes you work a lot harder and gets you way more excited for the games.
And ahead of the tournament, the gold medalists received a Sabres welcome to Buffalo, which of course included some team swag from standouts like Rasmus Dahlin and Tage Thompson.
It's a great experience, and then obviously we have in common the sport. It's still the same sport and stuff, so it's fun to talk to them about stuff about the game.
We were taking notes and go back to our coach, give him suggestions for our pregame skates and stuff like that. So.
The 8-Nation tournament will kick off Saturday, May 24th at the Lecom Harbor Center. On your side, Alyssa Clausell, Channel 2 News.
Health Secretary RFK Jr. celebrated in Utah on Monday as the state enacted a law to ban fluoride from drinking water. Kennedy is encouraging other states to follow suit.
In the era of fluoridated toothpastes and mouthwashes, it makes no sense to have fluoride in our water.
The dean of UB's School of Dental Medicine says he and other health professionals have celebrated the fluoridation of drinking water as one of the greatest public health initiatives in U.S. public history. Adding fluoride is a dental protection mineral.
It makes the teeth stronger. That way, when you have bacteria that will cause tooth decay, releasing their acids will not be able to destroy the tooth, the enamel, or even deeper inside of the tooth.
The city of Buffalo went without a fluoridation system for nearly 9 years. City officials announced the return of fluoride last fall. UB is currently conducting research to find out how this impacted families who lived in the city of Buffalo during that time.
We are now starting a study here at the dental school, but we have seen an increasing flux of patients, especially kids, that have had more cavities, that have more issues because of the lack of water fluoridation.
Erie County Health Commissioner Dr. Gail Bernstein says this is a health disparity issue.
If we remove fluoride for our water systems, only people who can afford to pay to buy that extra fluoride or to buy water that is already fluoridated will have access to fluoridated water to keep good dental health. And other individuals, like we've seen in the city of Buffalo, will not have that opportunity.
Dr. Bernstein says she believes New York State will not remove fluoride from drinking water supplies.
As long as I am health commissioner in Erie County, we will push hard to keep fluoride in all our public water systems.
President Trump brought it up last night at a D.C. dinner.
We're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals, and when they hear that, they will leave China, they will leave other places because they have to sell. Most of their product is sold here, and they're going to be opening up their plants all over the place in our country.
And some pharmaceutical firms like Pfizer emphasize their 10 U.S. manufacturing sites, 2 distribution facilities employing 10,000 stateside people. But look further in their website and see this video of Pfizer's global supply chain with many more international plants, tens of thousands of more workers as a multinational company. Then drill down to the local retail level in Tonawanda at the Brighton Eggert Pharmacy. It's much more complicated, with 2 countries mentioned as tariff targets, being a source of cheaper generic drugs, which make up 90% of the prescriptions sold.
most of the active ingredients, the powders that go into making the medication, those are being sourced from China. They are then purchased by India. The companies in India, where most of the generic companies are, will then take those active ingredients. They'll add inactive ingredients to create the size of a tablet or capsule. They'll press that product, finish it, and then manufacture it to the United States, where it's distributed to community pharmacies. Can we bring that back? Possibly, but again, I just don't see, when you're talking about the manufacture of pharmaceuticals, where we would be able to maintain those costs. We're talking about tariffs. We're going to see disruption in those low costs. How much of a disruption and how that's going to affect the patients in terms of their copays, we're going to have to find out.
And for medicine availability?
We probably have months of product in the pipeline that's on its way to the U.S. already, that's in the generic distributors' warehouses, that's on pharmacy shelves. What happens today and how does it affect the drug supply possibly 90 days down the road?
The state health department gives this nursing and rehab center in Delaware and Utica a rating of 2 out of 5 stars in its most recent report, which also reveals that it's been subject to fines several times in the last 6 years. Then, last November, the AG released the results of a year-long investigation into its owners, Centers Healthcare, focusing on 4 of its facilities across the state, including this one.
That shows the mistreatment and lack of proper care due to understaffing. One finding even saying that residents were forced to sit in their own urine and feces for hours. The investigation also finding that the nursing center's owners diverted over $83 million in government funds into their own investments.
Along with $45 million in fines, Centers Care agreed to increase staffing and make reforms at its facilities as directed by an independent healthcare monitor. But if any of that's been happening here, it would come as a shock to Dawn Easterling, who visited on Saturday.
The patients are just wandering all around. There was a gentleman that was walking around in a diaper and a gown. The diaper was so saturated, he was walking around holding it up with his hand.
She then made her way to her 71-year-old father's room, where she noticed his call light was on.
He was laying in bed in nothing but a diaper. I asked him what he needed. He said he needed a breathing treatment. So I waited a couple minutes to see if a nurse would come. Nobody came, so I went to the front desk and I waited for a nurse, and I waited about 15 minutes. There was no one at the nurse's station.
When she finally spoke to someone, she says she was told they're understaffed here.
And I can understand that, but at the same time, you're running a medical facility and you really need to have adequate staffing and staff that wants to work and take care of the patients.
As for her dad,
he's getting out of there one way or another. If I have to have him transferred or if I have to bring him home, he's leaving that facility.
Tonight is not business as usual. This is a breaking point, and I'm here to say enough is enough.
The Town of Tonawanda Police Club did not shy away from tonight's board meeting.
The vehicle and traffic law is a discretionary law.
Not leaving a single empty seat.
It was created to ensure that police officers are not pressured into issuing tickets simply to meet a number.
To shift the blame to one.
I am here as a reminder of how dangerous Jim Stoffager really is.
You know what a police chief is supposed to do? He's supposed to lead his members. He's supposed to lead his people.
It comes in response to a town investigation completed last week that found more than half of officers in Tonawanda engaged in an illegal strike from mid-January to early February, where only 52 total tickets were issued compared to more than 500 during that same period last year. The town calling that a violation of Taylor law, which prohibits public workers such as police officers from striking and now subjecting each officer involved to fines.
Is that normal? Like zero? It's quite normal. They had 2,000. Well, it hasn't happened in the town of Tonawanda.
Town Supervisor Joseph Eminger saying he believes this strike was in retaliation to disciplinary action taken against another officer and the union's overall frustration with its police chief James Stoffager.
In my time working at the station, I witnessed the misconduct, the cover-ups, the retaliation, and the mismanagement that these union members have highlighted against Jim Stoffager.
Who they believe deserves the attention rather than the strike they say never happened.
Stop playing politics and remove this cancer from the department. Thank you.
No word at this time on how much these fines could be for each individual officer, but the supervisor does tell us that it will vary from officer to officer. On your side here in the village of Kenmore, Andy Payton, Channel 2 News.
Just 4 days ago, Becky Burke was cutting down the nets and celebrating her biggest achievement in her time at UB with the WNIT championship. Well, fast forward from Saturday to Wednesday, and Burke is leaving Western New York for the desert, with UB now having to find a replacement. Burke today officially announced as the next head coach at Arizona, parlaying her success at UB into her first Power Conference head coaching job. Burke arrived in Amherst 3 years ago and went on to rack up a record of 61-37. That included a trip to last year's MAC tournament title game, a program record 30 wins this year, and the program's first national postseason tournament championship by winning the WNIT. The 35-year-old Burke replaces Adia Barnes in Tucson, who left Arizona to take the job at SMU. Via statement, here's what Burke had to say today on leaving UB. She said, quote, "My 3 years in Buffalo have been an absolutely incredible experience. I'm so thankful to have been able to coach so many amazing young women and work at such a prestigious university." She added, "I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish during my time and excited for the future of UB women's basketball." As for UB Director of Athletics Mark Allnut, he said, quote, "I'm very appreciative of the job that Becky Burke has done to elevate our women's basketball program to championship heights." He added, "I'm genuinely excited for Becky and her family in this next chapter. Given our recent success and the resources we put into our women's basketball program, this will be a very attractive job."
Hey Kelly, it's an exciting day for soccer fans here in Western New York. I'm here on Lee Street where the Pro Buffalo Soccer Stadium will be built. Construction is expected to begin this summer, and the president of the group says the stadium will be ready to welcome fans in 2026. Buffalo Pro Soccer announcing their plans to construct a 7,600-seat stadium near the Buffalo River, replacing the former Medaille University baseball field. It's a $10 million stadium that is privately funded. Local leaders say the stadium will serve as an economic driver for the city's Valley neighborhood. Buffalo Pro Soccer President Peter Marlette says the stadium will feature family-friendly ticket prices, a standing fan section, 12 elevated suites, and club-level seats. Marlette says the stadium will be used for events in addition to United Soccer League games.
We are building this 7,600-seat stadium, multi-use stadium, which I stress multi-use because it will not just be hosting those professional soccer games. We truly intend on building a community asset that is used 70, 80 times a year easily.
Today, Buffalo Club Soccer launches their founding member campaign where fans can reserve early access to season tickets. Now, plans for this stadium have been met with some criticism, as in years prior, Rochester and Buffalo have had teams that did not work out. However, leaders on this project say that this is going to be successful because they've done a lot of work to engage the community, and they're ready for the stadium and the season next year. For now, live and on your side in Buffalo, Chelsea Swift, Channel 2 News.